here in Riyadh. And yeah, the 11th episode that we've brought to you over the last 11 days. And we are on the eve of the finals day. And what an event it's been. You know, we've heard so many different things about Saudi Arabia, about Riyadh. And I saw today some things that warmed my heart. It was nice to see. It was nice to see a big group of girls. Martina Hingis is here. She was taking them through a clinic on the court. They got a tour of the centre court. And then we said at the start of the tournament, are they going to fill the stands? Now, what I'm learning, having been here for nearly 2 weeks now, is the Saudis like to be at the main event. So, and also Friday, Saturday is the weekend. So today, it was about maybe 2/3 full for Gabby and Erin, who were through to the final of the doubles. A big well done to Gabby and Erin on a fantastic match today against Melika and Perez. Well done to Nikki and Ellen as well for a great tournament. 7-6, 6-1. 11-9 in the tiebreaker. A really exciting match. And if you get a chance, actually just look at the 4-3 or 3-4 40-30 point where there was actually a double video call. And what happened was Erin hit a serve, Perez hit a return, it hit the net corner and went over Gabby's racket. Erin then went to hit the ball, and as Erin went to hit the ball, the umpire called touch. So the girls sent it to video review, and the video review showed that it didn't touch. This took about 3-4 minutes. So then Melika Perez said, well, we want it to go to video review because we believe that it wasn't called touch and it wasn't hindrance, which was quite smart and quick thinking, I guess. I felt watching that there was a little bit of a hindrance, even though Gabby and Erin would have been lucky probably to have got to play that point again. However, it came back that they weren't so lucky. They lost the point and it went to sudden death juice at 4-3, which was a big moment. Missed first serve, then made a great second serve and held for 4-all. I was actually telling the girls, joking, and this is a bit of mindset stuff, right? It's nice when your players are in this mindset to have a joke at that moment. I said, hey girls, if you lose this review, I want you to review that they have reviewed too late, you know, and we had a little bit of a joke, but it went on for 6.5 minutes. So that was that. And then for the singles matches, Kim Wen, Zhang and Barbora Krejcikova, there was about 4,000 people there. Very few empty seats. I think it holds 4,200. And Kim Wen came through in front of what feels like a home Chinese crowd. Lots of Chinese people here supporting their hero. And then this evening, we have had Coco Gauff beat Sabalenka. We did tell you at the start that Sabalenka, it was going to be tough for her to win it. You know, it's been a long year. It's not so easy to keep going into the latter rounds. Nobody picked Coco. You know, maybe we're sleeping on Coco a little bit. I'm delighted this evening. And before I do introduce my guest who's coming on, please do ask your questions. You've got myself, you've got Mike James, who's the performance analyst of Coco Gauff. He's worked alongside Iga Swiatek, Stan Wawrinka, Holger Rune, Stefanos Tsitsipas. He's done a whole host of work with players, and he's going to give us a great insight into a few things, into Coco during this week and why she's having so much success. We're going to then look and unpack Coco, the final tomorrow between Coco and Qin Wen, and just look at maybe some of the data throughout the year. So we're really lucky to have Mike coming on. Please do ask your questions, get them in. You know, anything that you want to ask Mike or myself. We will have, if we can tomorrow, all depends tomorrow. The finals are a little bit later in the day. Presentations, all this type of stuff. We will try and come on and run a podcast live for you tomorrow night. I can't promise where it's going to be. And then from there, I'll do a little summary as well, whether that is here in Saudi or whether I have to wait until I get back to Europe to be able to do that. The end of the tournaments is always funny. You don't know quite what's going to happen. We'll sort all of that out after finals tomorrow and take care. And here he is, the man himself, talking about him. A big welcome, Mike James.
Dan, thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm very good. It's a pleasure. And just so you know, I literally text Mike 2 hours ago. This, and it's I don't know whether this is shows that he has no social life, that he can jump in on a Friday night at such last minute, or whether he's just such a dedicated tennis analytic, as we've already introduced. So Mike, how's things? How's the south of France?
Well, it's good, and I think I'm probably both. No social life, and as you can see, I'm still at the academy now. I've been working all day, filming different projects, previews for the ATP finals, and what else would I be doing on a Friday evening? And the good news is it's earlier for me than it is for you. So.
Well, it is. I've had to take this. I've had to take this plunge each evening to come in at 11 o'clock. And do you know what time? Saudi feels a bit like Spain. It feels like things happen later. We've kind of.
I feel like I need to be interviewing you after your success this week, and what you've got lined up tomorrow is slightly bigger than my Saturday. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see how Gabby and Erin do tomorrow. But right now is about you. And whilst we've got you, whilst we've got your brain, we've got your expertise. Obviously, spending time. You've been working with Coco and her team. We've seen. I think I said it just earlier. I think a few people have slept on Coco a bit this week. I think the talk was very much Sabalenka. We did call Qin Wen as well on the podcast earlier this week. There was a call that we thought maybe Sabalenka would play Qin Wen maybe when they were playing first match. Maybe we're going to see that as the first and the last match of the tournament. But give me a little insight. Coco looks like she's moving well, as she always does. 2 double faults today obviously makes a massive difference to Coco. The last time she played Sabalenka, there was 24 double faults, I believe, in Wuhan. But break the numbers down. Give us some stats. Tell us why Coco's having such a successful week.
Well, I mean, first of all, Matt Daly and JC Farrell are doing a great job out there at the moment. And I think ultimately the surface and the conditions suit her. And I was looking back at her group stage numbers, and the average winners against was 13 in the group stages, and errors 47 winners. Errors. So wow. It's an incredible amount of errors per match for the opponents. So I think she's moving great, as you said. And she's just in a situation at the moment where she can draw errors from the opponents. She's staying in there, she's serving better, and she's returning well. And, when she's like this, her defense is as good as the best offense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And Mike, I wrote a number down at the top of my notepad as I was watching that match. And I wrote 46. And the reason I wrote 46 was, I believe up until maybe the final point, and it might have ended up being 47 or 48, that was the number of errors that Aryna Sabalenka made today as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there we go then. So, we're on track for every single match. So, what do you think? What are the courts playing like out there? Are they slow, medium?
No, it's quick.
It's quick. It's amazing, huh? It's amazing. These players, maybe lack of time is one thing. But, for me, Coco won the US Open with her defense. And obviously, this is her 5th year on tour. Can you imagine this? She's 20 years old, and this is her 5th season. And ultimately, many people compare her to Serena Williams, and the idea that the way Serena played was by dominating the match, a bit like Sabalenka. But Coco, those strengths are not there yet. Potentially, in the next few years, that could be the case. But her game is built on exceptional movement. For me, the top 3 movers at the WTA at the moment, and it's funny because I've worked in the teams of all 3 of them, is for me is Coco, Iga and Marta Kostyuk. And I think the way these girls are moving, and I'd put them all together, is creating problems for your bigger hitters. When the conditions are in the right situation, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, watching today, Sabalenka, I think she was definitely a little bit tired. I think at the end of a long year, but the Coco gives you that feeling, right, as well. That feeling of, especially, and I don't want to keep bringing up the serve, but I think it is something that clearly, I saw something the other day that if Coco Gauff had hit no double faults this year, she'd be the clear world number one, and in terms of points she'd won, and like all of these things, and that might sound a little bit obvious, but maybe it's not, because what is the average double faults a match, WTA Tour? Four. So that's on average. And what would Coco's average be in 2024?
Well, I mean, we can all go and Google it and see what it's like. And unfortunately, she does lead that stat of double faults, for the year, which is not a stat that anybody wants. What I can say is that she's going through huge development phases in her game under the biggest spotlight, being at the top of the game, and that's been the case since she was 15. So, she's done exceptionally well to stay at the top of the game, and to win a Grand Slam, and to be in the mix now, and to be consistent. And I think, the expectation was for her to come on the tour at 15 and dominate and win Grand Slams, like your Martina Hingis and these players. But the game is changed, and the game is different now, and even the women are playing longer now, and the physicality has changed. So, yes, the serve has gone off at certain points of the season. It was also on. So, I mean, the beginning of the year she was serving great, and then it went off. And it's looking good this week. I know Matt's been working really, really hard on. We've done a lot of video analysis in the background. Been sending things back and forth to each other. And the important thing is, it's tough to do that while the player is playing and they're in competition, to make big changes. And I think in the off-season last year, the serve was something they were looking at a lot, and it's probably going to be the same, this season. So.
Yeah, and I think Mike, but I think for me, Mike, my point is not the negative spin on it. Actually, the point I'm making, and anyone that listens to this podcast on a regular basis, I love Coco Gauff. She is just like incredible. She's a superstar. She's seems like a gorgeous girl. She has everything, right? And she has it on the court as well. And I believe, and we talked about this earlier in the week on these lives, somebody said to me, who's got the biggest upside in the game? And I believe Coco Gauff can dominate the sport. I really do. And the bit that I'm saying is, she plays Arina Sabalenka and lost 6-4 in the third set in Wuhan, serving 24 double faults.
Yes.
Today she's fixed that, and she served 2. She's better. I believe that she's actually better than these what we're seeing at the top players in the world, and I believe that ceiling is just incredibly high, which moves me into tomorrow, Mike, because we have another, talking of the serve. Again, hopefully you'll be able to give me better stats than I have, but I do know that Qin Wen has some pretty strong serving stats over the years. Maybe people don't know her as the server, but how do you see Qin Wen's end to the year? How do you see her going into this final match? And then give us a little bit of a kind of compare and contrast analysis of how the match is going to go tomorrow.
Well, again, she's somebody that's improved immensely this season. She's leading the tour in first serve points won. She's at 100 aces more than Sabalenka.
Wow.
So, and it's interesting because she's coached by Para Riba, who I worked with Coco when she won the US Open. So Para knows Coco's game better than anybody else's, and Tamari's going to be in the opposite box. And it's going to be really, really interesting because, like we talk about this aggressive margin, it's minus 34 for the opponents, in this tournament against Coco. They're making, way more errors than winners against Coco. So I think in this match, Qinwen, even though you look at some of her ball speeds and spin rates have actually been as big as Sabalenka during this tournament, I think it's going to be a real physical battle because, again, she's another one that, I talked about the top three movers, and you could argue you could put her very close to Coco and Marta with the movement side. So I actually think we're going 3 sets tomorrow. I think we're going down to the wire, and I think Coco's going to take it.
Nice. Well, I hope so. I don't want to sit on the fence and say, but like I say, I said this earlier in the week. I believe we have 3 superstars right now, and we've got Aryna Sabalenka. I think for obvious reasons has put herself in that place. Qin Wen, we both saw it in China, right? She's a mega superstar.
If you remember when we met up in Wuhan, and she was playing on the big screen on the TV in the hotel, and the stadium was full, and for a female player to fill that stadium, I think it's in the top 4 biggest stadiums in tennis in Beijing. And I spoke to her agent actually the day after that because I was so shocked on this stadium being totally full. And he was saying they had 24-hour security with her wherever she was going. She could not walk the streets now. She can't go into a restaurant in China. She is a pop star since the Olympic gold, because the Olympics for the Chinese is the biggest thing. So winning that gold medal, I remember actually getting the bullet train from Shenzhen to Wuhan, and she was on the front cover of the magazine in every train seat. So, it's incredible. And again, another one who's having to deal with huge pressure. Coco has it in America. Zheng has it in China. So I think it's a good final tomorrow. Maybe everybody wanted Sabalenka against her, but I think Coco against her is going to be interesting because their head-to-head is 2-0 for Coco, but one of them was in juniors. So one of them was Orange Bowl 2018. The other result was in Rome this year, 7-6, 6-1 for Coco. But that was before Qin Wen started to really make this run, just before the French and the Olympics. And since then, she's been very tunnel visioned and playing her best tennis.
I just wonder if, I'm going to say local crowd, and the reason I'm going to say local crowd, it feels local for Qin Wen. There's a lot of Chinese a lot of Chinese fans in the stadium. The noise is much louder when Qin Wen's playing, so it feels like a bit of a home tie, and I just wonder if that home tie might get her over the edge in that tight 3-set match.
Well,
let's see. One of us will be right.
Well, one of us will be right, but I like the fact that you've gone against me. It's important for an interview, right? We can't be on the same team. But I think Coco also, brings the energy, whether the crowd is with her or against her, and normally it's with her, right? And also that crowd is not a volatile crowd. We're not talking the Davis Cup in Argentina. We're talking about some very polite Chinese people being louder. So I think it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it for sure.
And just while I've got you a couple of minutes, a little comment come through here from Competitive, who said loving the dancing before the matches by Gabby and Erin. And if you haven't seen Instagram, see it. I promise this is happening every match. It's called the dance party. That's what they've called it. They've called it the dance party. They do their playlist the night before, and every match so far we've had the dance party interrupted with the tournament referee saying, "Girls, it's now time to walk on court."
Now the question is, are you getting involved in that?
As my wife will tell you, it's there's not many things that I'm a little bit embarrassed to do, but I have a bit of a thing about dancing.
That should be a forfeit. If they win, that should be mandatory that you're doing that.
I need a little bit of Dutch courage, and there's no alcohol in Saudi, so right. I'm in trouble. So maybe the after party somewhere that allows me to have a couple of rum and cokes. I might get a bit more involved. So thank you. Yeah, thank you for the comment, Competitive. If you do have any questions, I've got Mike for 2 or 3 more minutes, and Mike's going to give me just a little insight into Turin. We've got the ATP Tour Finals. I've not seen the draw. Is the draw out?
Yeah, well, I did 2 preview videos today that are coming out on Tennis Majors next week, and the two matches in the group stages that I did the previews on was Sinner against Medvedev, which is their head-to-head is 7-all, and
Wow.
Carlos and Zverev, which their head-to-head is 5-all, and I have a sneaky feeling that when Zverev's in this mood, he's starting to feel again like the guy that was one match away from being world number one and beating Rafa at the French, and that's starting to take shape now. And I think, like I said today, he's one of the guys physically and mentally that can stay with Carlos and with Yannick. They have more. He has limitations to his game, more limitations to them. But if he can nullify those limitations, then he can be right in the mix to win that. And I think he's on a mission really to get to world number one now. So that's interesting from that point of view. It's a bit.
Can I just pick you on that quickly, Mike? Sorry. Zverev. I remember a few years ago, and I won't say the player just maybe for privacy reasons, a player that you were helping. You showed me a great piece of work you'd done with this player, and it was around dominating the middle of the court with the forehand. And I guess, when we're coaches coaching younger players, we almost think an error is missing the ball, whereas at a higher level the error is not doing enough with the ball, or can be. And this particular player, I think you had maybe 8 to 10 different clips that showed he was in a dominant position on the forehand, that he could have, might have been ball 3, that he could have gone on to win the point from, and I believe he only won maybe 2 out the 8. And you kind of were able to showcase, didn't do enough with the forehand, made it, but it was more of a rallying forehand rather than a hurting forehand. Is that not Zverev's issue still? Because I think from my
forehand,
not hurting enough from mid-court forehands, not being able to capitalise from that position.
It's funny you should say that, because I had to scout him last week for Holger. And I watched him obviously in all of the matches, and he was really, really fizzing his forehand. Heavy into the cross side, cross court battle, forehand to forehand if you're right-handed, and he was hitting that as well as I'd ever seen him hit that forehand. And he was playing closer to the baseline. Now, I think he had to play closer to the baseline by choice because it was the quickest surface of the season.
Yeah.
He had to do that if he was going to do some damage in that tournament. But he really hurt players in that tournament with his forehand from the middle. So you're right. And I remember the player in the clip that I was talking about, but that was quite a while ago now. And obviously Holger played him at the French this year. He went 5 sets with him. Holger was 2-1 up going into the 4th set tie break. And I remember being in the locker room after that match, and you're looking at Sasha, and he looks like the guys that just come off his warm-up. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, I'm looking at the guy thinking, how is he not tired? How is it, if he's tired, he's really hiding it well, I've got to say, I think he's an interesting one to watch at the moment. Some people might go, he's really boring and he's been around and whatever, but I'm interested in seeing what he's going to do next week. And you've now got no Holger this year, Novak or Steph, and for me, it's interesting with the other guys. Can they step up? Diminar, Rublev, can they do anything, or are they just going to be there and it's going to be going as expected? So I'm interested for different reasons this year, and it's a shame I'm also not there, but there we go.
You're going to miss out on that Parata.
Well, the mozzarella guy there is unbelievable. Ooh. It's the best mozzarella I've ever had in my life, and unfortunately, I'm not going to experience it.
I didn't realise anything could taste like that. If I'm honest, I was like, "What?"
The food's incredible, and I see they've opened the practice now, and there are many people there watching and I think they did that last year. And the Italians do tennis very, very well, I have to say.
They do. Mike, you're a good man, giving us an extra 20 minutes in what's been, I'm sure, a long week. Go and try and spend some time with the family this weekend. And a big thank you to you, as always, and well done with everything you're doing. Thanks for joining us.
Well, good luck, mate, and I hope you get over the line tomorrow. I'll be cheering you on.
It won't be for a lack of effort. I just have my eye here on the other semi-final, actually. So it's currently 6-love 4-2 Siniakova Townsend.
Okay,
But
they are
Siniakova,
tough cookies, those two, huh?
that's not an easy match. But let's see. There's more tennis to come here. Siniakova's racket's just gone to the ground. So hey, who knows? We'll see. But it's gonna be a late night. I could do with
Exactly.
your expertise in this area because I've got a late night ahead looking into these things.
Amazing stuff, Dan, and good luck and congrats to everything you're doing. The fact that you're running a podcast, the Tennis Academy, and you're in the World Tour Finals, I've got to say you should win Coach of the Year now. If WTA do Coach of the Year for this, they should do 100%. You should get it, mate.
Top man. Thanks, Mike. Take care.
Cheers.
Thank you. And that didn't cost me that much money for those kind words at the end either. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, hopefully great insight for you all. Certainly was for me, and what a treat to get Coco Gauff's performance analysis, at this time. So any little questions? I've got last couple of minutes before I get my attention onto the big final for Gabby Dabrowski and Erin Routliffe tomorrow. And yeah, we'll see, and we'll see what the singles brings. I think that's a nice analysis there by Mike. I think Kinwen's maybe got the edge, just about. But I think they're two special players that we're going to be seeing for a long time. In the doubles, we still don't know who the finalists will be that play against Gabby and Erin. Siniakova and Townsend was 6-love 4-2 up, but Siniakova's just dropped a serve, so back to 4-3. And I suppose the last thing I will talk about is the scoring system in tennis in doubles. It's like 6-love 4-2 up. If that's a football match, you're 6-0 up, right? The match is over. You lose the last 10 minutes, doesn't matter, 6-1, 6-2. In tennis, you can be absolutely smoking someone, and yeah, you don't keep your focus. It goes, someone catches fire at the right time. Before you know it, you're in a match tiebreak, and we all know where that goes. So let's see how that one unravels. I will, as I said, will try my best to be back tomorrow night. It does depend a little bit on how the whole things are gonna work out at the end tomorrow, and with the finals that are coming. But we will try at the same time, if we can, even if it's for a really quick one, to say hello and give a little bit of a review of the day. But thanks for joining me. Thanks for all the kind messages. Thanks for all the questions. I love tennis, and I love having the opportunity to do this, and I really do appreciate it. So a big thank you. But until next time, I'm Dan Kiernan, and we are Control the Controllables.